The Crickets are an American rock and roll band from Lubbock, Texas, formed by singer-songwriter Buddy Holly in the 1950s. Released in 1957, their first hit record, That'll Be the Day, became a #1 hit single on the Billboard Hot 100 chart on September 23. The sleeve of their first album, The Chirping Crickets, shows the band lineup at the time: Buddy Holly on vocals and lead guitar, Niki Sullivan on backing vocals and rhythm guitar, Jerry Allison on drums, and Joe Mauldin on upright double bass. The Crickets helped set the template for subsequent rock bands such as the Beatles, with their guitar-bass-drums lineup and the talent to write most of their own material. After Holly's death in 1959, the band continued to tour and record with different lead vocalists and other band members. They continued performing and releasing new material into the 21st century. Formation. Holly had been making demo recordings with local musician friends since 1954. Sonny Curtis, Jerry Allison, and Larry Welborn participated in these sessions. In 1956, Holly's band recorded an album's worth of rockabilly numbers in Nashville, Tennessee, for Decca. The records were no more than mildly successful, and the band didn't hit financial success until 1957, when producer and recording engineer Norman Petty hosted Holly's sessions in Clovis, New Mexico. Holly had already recorded for another label under his own name, so to avoid legal problems he needed a new name for his group. As the Crickets recalled in John Goldrosen's book The Buddy Holly Story, they were inspired by other groups named after birds. They were then considering insect-centered names, apparently unaware of the Bronx R&B vocal group The Crickets, who recorded for J.D. They almost chose the name Beatles. Years later, the Beatles chose their band name partly in homage to the Crickets. The Crickets were lead guitarist and vocalist Buddy Holly, drummer Jerry Allison, bassist Joe Mauldin, and rhythm guitarist Niki Sullivan. Sullivan dropped out after a little more than 1 year to resume his education. The Crickets, now a trio, continued to make stage and TV appearances, and recorded more songs, many composed by the band members themselves. Early success. During 1957, Norman Petty arranged for the Crickets recordings to be marketed under 2 separate names. The solo vocals went out as Buddy Holly, and the songs with dubbed backing vocals were issued as the Crickets. Petty reasoned correctly that disc jockeys might be reluctant to program a single artist too heavily, but would have no problem playing records by 2 seemingly different groups. Some disc jockeys referred to the band as Buddy Holly and the Crickets, but the record labels never used this wording until after Holly's death. In 1958, Holly broke with producer Petty and moved to New York to be more involved with the publishing and recording businesses. Allison and Mauldin chose not to move and returned to Lubbock. Holly now recorded under his own name with studio musicians Tommy Allsop and Carl Bunch. Waylon Jennings toured with him shortly after the Crickets folded. Allison and Mauldin looked forward to rejoining Holly after he returned from a winter tour through the northern Midwest. In the meantime, Joe Mauldin, J. Allison, and Sonny Curtis began recording new songs as the Crickets, with Earl Sinks on vocals. While they were recording, it was announced that Holly had died in a plane crash while on tour. After Holly's death, the Crickets, now with vocalist Earl Sinks, went on performing after Holly's death. David Box, a native of Lubbock, Texas, and a near-identical Buddy Holly sound-alike, joined the group as lead vocalist for their 1960 single of Don't Car No/Peggy Sue Got Married, released as Coral 62238 after the departure of Sinks. In April 1960, the Crickets backed the Everly Brothers on their first UK concert tour, but they were not billed as their backing group. Box died in a charter plane crash on October 23, 1964, while touring as a solo singer. In 1962, the Crickets' version of the Jerry Goffin Carole King song Don't Ever Change, featuring Jerry Naylor on lead vocals, reached the top 5 in the British single charts. Also in 1962 they released Bobby V Meets the Crickets, an album with Bobby V on lead vocals. In 1964, the Crickets recorded their version of the rock and surf song California Sun for their album of the same title. In 1978, The award-winning film The Buddy Holly Story, starring Gary Busey as Buddy Holly, presented an engaging but inaccurate depiction of the band's early years. Allison and Mauldin's names were altered to Jesse Charles and Ray Bob Simmons respectively, and Charles is portrayed as having racial attitudes. Also Niki Sullivan, Sonny Curtis, Bob Montgomery, Don Guess, and Larry Welburn are not included in the film, which made them vote their portrayal as negative. 21st century. The Crickets released The Crickets and Their Buddies in 2004, which features several classics from all parts of their career, featuring guest appearances by several prominent artists including Eric Clapton, Rodney Crowell, Waylon Jennings, Nancy Griffith, John Prine, Graham Nash, Bobby V and Tony O'Kay. The album was produced and mixed by Greg Ladany and included editing and additional mixes by Dave Carlock, Rob Hill, and Rogers Masson. On October 28, 2008, the Crickets were inducted into the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum in Nashville, Tennessee. They performed Peggy Sue, Not Fade Away, and That'll Be the Day at the ceremony, accompanied by guest guitarist Keith Richards. In 2011, Allison was still touring with Sonny Curtis, a childhood friend and bandmate of Buddy Holly's, on vocals and guitar. On April 14, 2012, the Crickets were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by a special committee, aimed at correcting the mistake of not including the band with Buddy Holly when he was first inducted in 1986. The inducted members include Jerry Allison, Sonny Curtis, Joe Mauldin, and Niki Sullivan. The group was unable to attend the ceremony because Mauldin was ill. Members. Timeline. Discography: The Chirping Crickets, The Sound of the Crickets, Buddy Holly, In Style with the Crickets, Bobby V Meets the Crickets, Something Old, Something New, California Sun, Rock Reflections, Remnants, Bubble Gum, Pop, Ballads and Boogie, Long Way from Lubbock. Back in Style, 3-piece, T-shirt, cover to cover, the original, Rock Keen, Too Much Monday Morning, Crickets and Their Buddies, About Time To, Double Exposure. Singles music videos References. External links: Buddy Holly and the Crickets online, official website, The Crickets at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.